Welcome back, fellow ag nerds. We are doing a little fun educational trip today, and the in-laws are in town, and so we are going to be heading out to see an orchard removal with the Fowler Brothers. I've done a little bit before with that. I've actually filmed a video before, but it didn't turn out, so we're going to do this time. But it's been so nice and pleasant. It's been in the low 80s for the last couple weeks. And of course, when the in-laws come to visit, it just decides to heat up and get all nasty on us, but that's okay. So right here, you can see they've already torn out this quite a bit right here, and there's some mulch right there, just grinding up the trees. You can see the trees. I don't know if you can see them on here that well, but they're grinded up, or they've been removed by the excavator, just waiting to get picked up. But we will pull up here and see what's going on. See right here, we got some trees that have been removed. Just waiting to get picked up by the front loader with the brush fork, and he'll go transport them to the shredder. So we showed up, and I feel bad because we showed up a little late, and the guys are starting to clean up, but they're gonna fire it back up for us because we're pretty lucky. So if you go and watch some of the videos I've done a video with the Fowler Brothers before where they remove a peach orchard. You can actually go and see how they remove the trees. I'm not going to show you that on this one. I'm just going to show you, once the trees have been removed, how they're delivered and ground up. So if you want to go see how these trees are removed from the ground, it's pretty cool to watch. The attachment they have on this excavator, you can just pop them out. So go check that video out. Look at this bad boy. This thing's huge. Yeah, so Zach, I don't know if we've actually had a video on here with you yet.
Only on the D11. On the
D11, that's right. Yeah, the D11. We did have one on there.
Yep.
I feel like we filmed a lot, but we haven't been able to get a lot out. So hopefully we'll be able to get this one out and get going. But we're out here today. They're doing this orchard removal. And so they are grinding up some trees. So I see here these are almonds. Do you guys just grind up almonds? Do you remove just almond orchards?
No, so actually we'll grind almonds, walnuts, peaches, anything that we can grind, put through the grinder. I mean, we've even ground, we'll regrind manure and stuff like that. So we can regrind a lot of different things with the grinder, but primarily this time of the year, it's all almonds, walnuts, pistachios.
Okay, that's cool. How many acres are you able to do for, like, say, an almond orchard? How many acres are you able to do?
So on a typical day, we can do 10 to 15, depending on how big the trees are. Walnuts, you're looking at 3 to 5, depending on how big the trees are. They can get really slow because walnuts can be really big. But yeah, our standard is 10 acres a day.
Okay. Yeah. And then are you guys doing this all year round, or is this just mainly like a seasonal thing?
So it's mostly after harvest. So when we say harvest, we refer to almonds, walnuts. So we're looking in August through till it gets wet. So it could be January, it could not rain at all, hopefully it does. December, and we'll fire back up in the spring, looking at February, March, April, through midsummer. Then midsummer kind of slows down. Midsummer we start doing custom grinding, like you got holer stick piles, blowover piles, stuff like that, because the states are really starting to impose a lot of regulations on burning, so you can't burn as much. They lose a little more work for us to come in and start grinding piles and stuff like that.
Okay. So is he controlling that with a remote control?
Yeah, so around his hip he has a remote control that he keeps with him in the excavator. So obviously it's wireless, runs off of Bluetooth, and he controls everything from right there at his waist.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so it keeps it completely hands off from the machine, so it's a little bit safer that way.
Oh yeah, I mean, look at that thing. It looks like the jaws of death right there.
Yeah, so it's this is a B-66 Rotochopper, the L series. It's a 1,000 horsepower horizontal grinder compared to a tub grinder, which you'd see with a big bowl on top.
Yeah.
This is kind of taking the market with the horizontal grinding. It's a little more efficient when we're grinding orchards and stuff like this. Like I said, we can do about 10 to 15 acres of trees a day. So when you're talking trees, you're talking anywhere from 138 to 150 trees per acre. So we're talking it can eat a lot of trees pretty quick. With this setup right now, right where you can see the door where it says Rotochopper, right inside that door on the side, there's screens, and we can adjust the size of the material that comes out the back end of the grinder. So for this project here, we're doing 4-inch material.
How much does a machine like this cost, if you don't mind me asking?
This is anywhere from $850,000 to $950,000.
Wow. They expensive to repair?
Yeah, very. Very expensive. It's never fun repairing anything with this kind of stuff, but you know, that's why you got to keep your production up. Compared to like ripping and stuff like that, orchard removal, typically we charge per the acre. So something like this is getting charged per acre. Like an almond orchard, looking anywhere from 600 to 800 bucks an acre on an almond orchard to get it removed, ground up, and either hauled off, or we offer spreading services too, depending on what we're going to do with the wood. 1,000 horsepower grinder. We have a 55,000 pound excavator with a grapple on the front, stationary with a stationary thumb, and the front of the grapple moves to grab the trees, and that just feeds the grinder constantly. The stump end goes in first, and then it pulls it right in. It almost self-feeds itself. Sometimes you got to give it a little assistance, but it'll pull it in.
Cool.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll go on this side over here. So you guys just heard that rev up. So he was able to control the RPMs and everything on this machine from his lap inside the excavator. That's just really cool. Just like that. Just turn that tree into powder.
It looks like he's grabbing 2 or 3 trees at a time here. See, it kind of assist them in and then drop it on the deck. The deck inside's moving as well.
You can just feel the machine. We're standing, you know, 20, 30 yards away, and you can just feel the vibration that this machine is making.
So we can change the chip size. Usually on a standard, if we're hauled off to the biomass plant, it needs to be 3-inch material. These screens are 4-inch, so it's a little bit bigger material. We're doing something a little bit different with this stuff. So we kind of change the screens. It could be every job, every couple jobs, depending on how the jobs line up. The screens probably take an hour and a half to change out. There's 2 big screens.
Okay.
You can see he's constantly keeping it fed. I mean, you always want to keep trees on the deck to make sure there's always chips coming off the end of the belt. We can walk over here and check out the chips.
Yeah.
These trees came out about 2 weeks ago, so the material's still pretty wet. So if the material's still wet, you can't leave it in piles for too long, or else the piles will spontaneously combust. So we gotta start moving product pretty fast. See, sometimes like big product makes it through. That's okay, that'll all get ground up. See how the piles add up fast, they accumulate really fast. So when the loader operator is working in tandem like he always is, he keeps pushing the pile so we can leave the grinder stationary. So there'll be a big pile of wood chips when it's all set up. They do about 10 acres a day. They do about 10 acre increments a day on each grinder setup. That's what we call each spot. So there'll be, on this 40 acre field, there should be 3 or 4 piles. So we also position, so this is going to get hauled out. We try to put it on the edge of the field. That way the trucks aren't driving through the middle of the field, hitting holes and stuff like that. We can keep on the outside roads. If it gets wet, they can usually keep driving and stuff like that. So.
brush fork, he's pushing the trees closer to him so that they don't have to move. They can just stay right here.
So he crushes the trees down as he moves forward to make more room on the rake. That way you can carry more 10, 20 trees at a time, opposed to like 3 or 4 because the canopies are still full. So he'll push them right up to the excavator will load them right in. The bigger the product that we make, the faster the grinding goes. So like right now, 4-inch, it's actually really fast. Tomorrow we're going to bump it up to a little bit bigger product. So we'll actually have to have 2 loaders here to keep the machine fed because it's so fast.
Yeah.
So the loader, the excavator operator will try to clean the root balls a little bit so we're not taking so much dirt into the machine, but that's primarily the job of the excavator operator when they actually pop the trees out, is to keep them as clean as possible.
So yeah, what do you do after you've mulched it up? You see these big piles, like when we drove in, we saw these big piles of mulch. What happens with that? You kind of just explained, but maybe go a little more in depth.
Yeah, so the customer has, well, they have 3 options really. So we can either grind it and put it into a smaller wood chip and reincorporate it, so spread it back onto the ground, and then that kind of goes back to the ripping side of things. So after these trees are all ground up into the big mulch piles, we'll come out here with huge vertical beater spreaders, and it'll spread all the material out nice and even throughout the ground, and we'll rip it all in. The Air Board has a grant for that, or the Air Pollution District has a grant for that, which actually gives back money to the growers if they do that to incentivize them not to take the wood to the biomass plant and burn it. Or, like I said, you can take it to the biomass plant and haul it off. So not only is the deck causing the material to move in, but you can see the wheel spinning back there with all the wood chips on it. That's the power feed wheel, and that's pulling the product into the grinding mill. And the grinding mill is actually in the center of the machine. That's what has the teeth on it. That's grinding the product. The product will spin inside the grinding mill until the product's the right size to make it through the holes, and then off it goes. What happens is we have a loader, a excavator, and the grinder operating all on the same site. They stay together as a group. So the loader is actually bringing trees to the grinder, and the excavator operator is feeding the grinder constantly. Obviously, we want to make sure there's always chips coming off the belt. So keep rolling that product. Just keep rolling it and get it on fine enough volume where you can pick it up and bring it right over here to the front of the grinder. So he has it pretty tight now. We'll come up underneath it, pick it up, and bring it right here. They got to work hand in hand and pay attention to what each other are doing, or else they won't be able. They'll run out of wood. So it has to be an efficient operation. Kind of cleaning the ground. It's almost like a broom. So he's pushing the trees. You can see behind there, kind of cleaning all the sticks, which leaves the field a little bit cleaner for the farmer. That way they don't have to send labor crews as much. Spinning about 1,800 RPM.
1,800 RPM. All right, so we are in the belly of the beast, and yeah, we kind of wanted to make sure it was shut off. You know, don't really feel like getting sucked into that right now. But gosh, look at that. So yeah, they got those big like just hammers.
Yeah, so when you're looking at the mill, this is referred to as a grinding mill. This is referred to as the power infeed wheel. So this is actually grabbing the material and bringing it in. As well as with help from the infeed deck that we're standing on, and it brings it right into the mill and starts grinding. So as you come in here and look, you can see obviously ground product here, but you can see back here, those are your 4-inch screens. So the product has to get small enough to make it through there, and once it does, it passes down to the finished belt and goes right out to the top end where we saw the chips going out earlier. But when you're looking at this, we have teeth. So these teeth are all flippable. So obviously this is the grinding tooth. This is the grinding side of the tooth right here that's exposed. this tooth comes off. So this is the tooth. This part you see here is the hammer. So they're separate things. That way, if you break a hammer off, it doesn't mess up the mill, because the mills are very expensive. Here, what these were referred to as rakers, and what those rakers do is actually pushes the material. So if you're actually taking this 4-inch material in, this would probably stop the grinder. So this helps not take such big bites. It kind of pushes the product back out a little bit, and helps the grinder grind a little bit more efficient. But yeah, I mean, like I said, we're grinding 10 to 15 acres a day. Bigger product, the faster we go, you probably grind 20.
All right, Zach. Well, hey, I appreciate letting us come out again and see. This is a really cool process to see. I've seen it from a distance, but never up close.
Absolutely.
And so it's been really cool to actually see how this thing works. It's an impressive machine. If you've never been up next to one, it's really crazy. But yeah. So hey, if you guys ever need any orchards removed, these guys are the guys to call. The Fowler Brothers. Thanks for having us out.
Thank you.